Gemini, happy December 2017. This is Dark Dove Tarot. Hope everybody is doing fantastic. As you know, I always pre-shuffle, but I'm going to shuffle the cards a few more times to add a little more energy. Again, hope you are doing well. As you know, my reads are based on love for anybody who's single, and I do touch base on the reconciliation as well. So again, for love, for singles, and anybody looking to reconcile, this is for Gemini, December 2017. I hope the end of the year treats you guys really well, and I hope 2018 proceeds to be a very good year for you. As you know, these reads are general, so check your sun, moon, and rising, as some months those may resonate with you more than others. It's always important to keep that in mind, that this is general. Hopefully it resonates with the majority of you, but sometimes your other signs will be more pertinent one month. All right. Any likes, comments, subscribes, always greatly appreciated. 2 reads ago, I let you guys know that I was trying the cards face up, and I did. I've always liked the element of surprise, but obviously I'm doing this for you, so if you prefer them face up or face down, let me know. The first month I asked, everybody said face down. Last month, people started saying face up. So whatever the decisive factor is in December, whoever messages me the most, whether it's face down or face up, is what I'll do. I'm going to pull your theme of the month card. Again, either way I'm fine with. I kind of like the element of surprise and not knowing, and then tying them all together in the end. I think that's a little more exciting. But again, whatever you guys prefer, you know, let me know. I'm always happy to do it 1 month up and 1 month down. But so far this month, it's been down. So that's probably how I'll continue unless I get more feedback. All right, Gemini, let's get started here. Your theme of the month is the 8 of Cups. All right, so somewhere along the lines, you feel like maybe things aren't moving fast enough. I know that last month you had that similar sensation that you knew something was coming in for you, whether it was love, job, you know, loose ends were kind of tying up, but it was going to be a patient process, and you were a little excited to get it moving forward. So that makes sense coming into this month, that you're still kind of being patient, but maybe feeling like you want to move things quicker. Regardless of whether you're single, looking to date, find a relationship, get married, or whether you're looking to reconcile. The 8 says that some of you guys just aren't still feeling exactly in the right place, or exactly where you want to be, and you're just feeling like, come on, it's not moving as fast as I'd like. So let's see. Coming into the month, your current position for December is the 4 of Swords. And if I remember correctly, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure this was either coming in to the month or exiting the month last month. I'll have to go back and look, but I know, I'm pretty sure you guys got this card last month as well. So this goes along swimmingly with the 8 of Cups, because this says that you're resting right now. You're kind of trying to figure things out. You're deciding what you want, you know, what's going to make you happy, which is something that you've been working on, Gemini, for a while now. Really coming to grips with, if you're dating, what you want and what's going to make you happy. I think last month we discussed the fact that a lot of you weren't dating. You were deciding on whether you wanted to start dating again. A lot of you were preferring to be alone and just kind of have some me time. And this says that some of you may still be in that current mindset, or you still want to date, but you're not going all in. You're not just dating every random person that contacts you. Maybe you're just getting your feet wet. And then if somebody interesting comes along, or somebody who seems genuinely interested in getting to know you without any BS or games, you'll give them the time of day. But this really says that if you're dating, you're kind of taking that time to yourself too, or you're moving, you know, very slowly because maybe the options haven't been what you want them to be. Maybe you've cut it off all, you know, completely, and you're just kind of waiting for the universe to give you some sort of sign to get out there and date again. Maybe you're hoping that you'll meet somebody in a more tangible way, like at the grocery store or at a friend's party, something like that. So this definitely says that Gemini is not running around dating like, you know, a serial dater or anything like that. And some of you may come back and say, hey, you know, I'm dating all the time. Again, you know, this may not resonate with everybody, but for the majority of the Geminis, I'm getting the feeling that you're taking more time for yourself because you've been through the chaos of dating. And I feel like this is kind of where we started or ended last month. If you're looking to reconcile, this is like recuperation. This is exhaustion. So either you've been in contact with this person and you're just going in circles and you can't really figure out what the heck you guys are going to do, or maybe you're contacting them and you're thinking, hey, things are going to move, but they're not moving in the direction you thought they would, or vice versa. Maybe they've been contacting you and they want to move and start picking up the pieces and get back together, and you're just like, I'm not ready for this. I'm exhausted. I need some time. But this really feels like, Gemini, you guys may not be in contact at all because you're really needing some me time, some recuperation, some, you know, just kind of not even thinking about it, focusing on other things, because when you do think about it, it stresses you out. If you guys aren't in contact, maybe you've contacted them, they're not responding, or maybe they're contacting you and you just can't find the will right now to respond because whatever it is or whatever has happened has drained you to the point of no return unless you recharge your battery. The next card you have is anything internal that helps or, you know, hinders the current position. So any hopes or fears you have coming into the month of December, and you have the Knight of Pentacles. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is somebody who's working really hard and somebody who's very dutiful. So I feel like whether you're single or looking to reconcile, this is very similar for you both. Because if you're single, this says you're putting your energy into other aspects, not just dating. You're putting your energy into kind of balancing things out, but you're being very dutiful about everything in your life. You're making sure, you know, the house is taken care of. You're making sure the pets, the kids, you know, you're spending time with friends, family. This is just you kind of working every aspect of your life. But I feel like this is you kind of feeling like you're teetering on, should I be putting more effort into dating, especially if you're dating or if you're single, looking to date or looking for a relationship or looking to have something long-term like marriage. You're trying to figure out this month, okay, is now a go? Like, should I be full on putting the effort into dating, almost like you do with work or almost like you do with family? This is you saying, okay, well, I realize that if I want to find what I want and I really want to date and I want to get things moving, I don't want them to be stagnant, then I'm going to have to start working at it, because some of you really have just put it on the back burner, which is good. You need a break sometimes. And I know that online dating, personally, I've been through all of that, can be chaos and it can be exhausting. And so I feel like the past month or two, you've kind of been going, okay, should I or shouldn't I? But you know that if you do, it's going to entail some hard work. Either you're going to have to find new ways of dating, or you're just going to have to be ready for, you know, weeding through a lot of the BS and trying to figure out who's playing games and who's being genuine. If you're looking to reconcile, this is you focusing on other things and not focusing on this person, which is why you're doing it, because you're exhausted. And the one thing that seems to be stressing you out or mentally fatiguing you and even physically and emotionally fatiguing you is this person. And so you're saying, you know what? I have other things to focus on, and I can't put all my time and attention into this because it may be affecting your work. It may be affecting, I mean, I've had that breakup that's so bad that you can't even breathe. You feel like you don't want to get out of bed. You can hardly eat. And if you focus on that and you focus on this other person, what are they up to? Are we getting back together? It can really affect other aspects of your life. And you're not liking it because you're saying, hey, that's not me. I'm very methodical and I'm hardworking. I'm very cautious. I don't allow like my emotions to kind of lead the way. Geminis are great lovers. They can be very emotional, but they generally don't like getting caught up in the dramatics of things. They're very, set forward, and this is, how they're going to do things. And they don't like all of the chaos of, they want, to say, hey, I love you. Oh, you love me. Great. We're going to date. We're going to have a relationship. We're going to get married, etc. They don't want 50 different people to, wade through the water and figure out all the red flags. So this says, hey, if you're looking to reconcile, you just want it to work out if it's going to work out, but you're not liking the way it's, the emotional aspect of it is really draining and affecting your life, or has been, because it seems like that's something you're getting out of and taking some extra time not to allow it to happen anymore. The next card you have is your distant past. I always read this together for anybody who's single and anybody who's looking to reconcile. You have the Ten of Swords, and anytime I see the Ten of Swords in this position, this is your distant past. So over the past, 10 years, it could be back in childhood. This is something I always bring up the past position to either remind you of habits not to form again, people to avoid, situations to avoid, behaviors to avoid repeating, and then also to bring up anything good that maybe you should be reminded of that you really appreciated or looked for in a healthy relationship. The Ten of Swords, immediately when I see this in the past position, this is death, illness, tragedy. This is terminal illness. This is abuse, maybe childhood abuse, physical, sexual abuse. So the Ten of Swords here says, Gemini, you have some demons in your closet, and something, maybe the holidays has triggered it coming up. Maybe you haven't been dating because you've been trying to date for years and you just can't get over a person who maybe passed away in your life. It could be, a husband or wife. It could be, somebody out there has an ex that they were broken up with and that person passed away. So there's definitely some sort of tragedy, and the feelings are spiking a little bit because of the holidays, or there's some sort of anniversary date. Something for some of you is coming up here. It also may be that you haven't dated in a long time because you've been going through counseling. Maybe there really was some abuse growing up. And in order to have a healthy relationship, you have to, deal with any physical or sexual abuse that happened once upon a time. And maybe Gemini, some of you have had to really have some really high moments and really low moments and realize that some of your relationships just aren't going to work unless you clear up some troubled past waters. For the majority of you, though, I think it's going to be tragic endings, breakups that were, the heartbreak I'm talking about, where you can barely breathe, you can't get out of bed. And some of you may have taken years before you're actually trusting. And even now you're debating on whether you can trust somebody. You're like, okay, that's where this hard work is coming in. If you're single, you're going, I'm going to have to put a lot of work into this and work into myself, because the security I'm going to need in order to feel like I can trust again is a really big deal, which means I need to put a lot of work into finding somebody that's going to be good and healthy for me. And this reconciliation may be, some of you may be having a hard time with the reconciliation because, you've had past relationships that have ended so badly and you just don't want to keep repeating that pattern. And for some of you, this may be a marriage of 10 years or 7 years or 11 years that, this is where the breakup is, and you're feeling this. You're feeling like you're having a hard time feeling like you want to move on because you care about this person, you love this person, and you have a lot invested in this person. So whenever I see this, it makes me just want to say, it always seems so bad in the moment, and it always seems so bad, right, for the next couple of months. But we always heal, get over it, and move on. So for anybody who's had these tragedies or gone through this, I'm truly deeply sorry, and it will get better. So Gemini, this is your card for the most recent past, over the past few weeks, past month or so, and you have the Chariot, which anytime I see the Chariot reminds me of Cancer. So some of you may have been dealing with a Cancer over the past few weeks, past month or two. The Chariot is you, if you're single, this is you trying to figure out what you want. So this is you really deciding that you're going to put the hard work into it, or making up your mind on what it is you want in life and then figuring out that balance. The Chariot card is about balancing, right? Because if the two horses pulling the carriage aren't going in the same direction, the carriage stands still and it doesn't go anywhere. So either you're really, and I keep saying this, but like Gemini, it feels like you almost have like this thought out, like you're writing it out, like this is the do's and this is the don'ts, this is the pros and this is the cons of somebody I would spend the rest of my life with, which is really important. But like I said before, I think that you're putting a lot of work into yourself, and the Chariot is all about ID, like literally identifying yourself, figuring out who you are, figuring out your life path and really delving into your soul. This is big time. This isn't just, oh, I want to get married and I want to meet a guy, and so I'm going to lose some weight and change my hair color. This is like, you know, approaching life in a completely different way. This is also about self-control too, because you're learning that just because somebody says that they like you, or just because you meet somebody and you go on a few dates and they say, oh, I think we'd be good together, it doesn't always go the way you think it's going to. And I think some of you have had your hopes up a few times, and now you're just kind of like, okay, I am starting to read the signs of somebody who actually is looking for something versus somebody who's kind of stringing me along, telling me what they think that I want to hear. If you're looking to reconcile, this is all about balancing it out, but it's also about duality. This tells me that you and this other person have not been on the same wavelength for a long time. And that's where this duality, you're both heading in different directions. Either you wanted to get serious and be in a committed relationship and they didn't, or you wanted to get serious and get married, or there's something here that was separating you guys. Maybe it was work, maybe it was even distance. One of you guys lives in one area and somebody else lives in another, and geography was playing a big role. Whatever this is, for anybody looking to reconcile, there's a lot of splits here. There's a lot of, we're not seeing eye to eye on these things, and these particular things you're not coming together on are important, or else the relationship is not going to work. So you've really got some thinking to do, but right now it seems like you're just trying to recoup and figure out everything in life work-wise and everything else you have to take care of. And then you can focus on this once you have all your ducks in a row. The next card you have is your distant future. So the next few weeks into the new year, probably generally goes for about 90 days, so 3 months. And you have the Four of Wands. So if you're single, this says that it's very interesting because the Four of Wands is all about resting, just like the Four. So it's a 4 thing, but which could be 4 weeks, 4 months, could be the 4th of the month that you're going to be meeting this person, could be April. But there's definitely somebody coming in, and it's like a stability. It's a happiness. So I'm trying to think who else got this. Shoot, I don't remember, but I believe somebody else in the readings this month got this card in the same position. But this says it's a first completion, right? So that means you're not going to be in the dating world for a long time. You're going to be coming out of that. Very interesting. Who else got this? I'm trying to think. Maybe it was Scorpio, but there's another sign that got it as well. This card makes me very happy when I see this here in this position, because this means something stable. This doesn't mean that you're going to be continuing to date. This means that maybe you'll date, but you'll be committed to 1 or 2 people and just dating them, or committed to one person and moving into the next step, which could be a relationship. You know, some people could be moving in together because you can see that they've kind of got a place together, and this is something. But it's definitely a first completion. So it could just be meeting a person that you're going to date for a while, committed, but not in a relationship. Or it could be moving from dating to a relationship, because again, this is over the next few months. But when I see this, it's nice because there's nothing chaotic about this. There's not 10 different people coming in and out of your life. It's a steady flow of one person, or if you are wanting to date 2 or 3 people, it's 2 or 3 good people that you think you could see yourself with down the line, possibly developing a relationship. If you're looking to reconcile, there's a happiness coming in a first completion. So maybe just communication is all that you need. Again, this Chariot is saying that you guys have been on a different path over the past few weeks, past month or 2, and that may be why this breakdown of communication and this separation happened. If you guys can communicate and figure out where you want to be, and if your goals can come together, and if you guys can somehow figure out a path that will work for both of you, if it's that important and something you want, then you can have this happiness and you can get to this stable place in your relationship. If you can't, then, you know, if you're both going in different directions, it's a moot point. It's not going to work. If it's something that's really important to you or something that's really important to them, at some point, it's okay to sacrifice things, right, for somebody else. But it depends on how big those sacrifices are as well. The next card you have is your immediate future. So over the next few weeks and throughout the month of December, and that makes perfect sense. So the Hermit is resting. The Hermit is also Virgo, so you may be dealing with a nurse sign, Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, but The Hermit card is Virgo, so you've got a Cancer here and a Virgo here. Now, the Hermit says this is very fitting for this read because this says you're having to retreat a little bit, which I think, Gemini, most of you, especially if you're single, have been retreating. But also if you're looking to reconcile, you've been kind of in your own man or woman cave as well. The Hermit says that you're retreating to gain wisdom and spirituality within yourself, which, like I said, you're doing a lot of work on yourself. And the Chariot also says you've been doing that. It could be meditation, it could be yoga, it could be going to counseling. Maybe you're battling with these demons, or maybe you're, figuring out where your relationships became unhealthy. Maybe they were learned behaviors from past relationships, or watching parents who went through difficult relationships, and you're realizing that you're repeating those same patterns. Whatever it is, the Hermit is saying if you're dating, you are taking a step back. You are not putting yourself out there to meet, 100 different people. You really want to take the time to get to know yourself again, or start feeling like yourself, or start feeling like you're actually looking for somebody who would fit with the real you. And the Hermit says that you'll come out when you're ready, but this is a different level. Like I said with the Chariot too, the Hermit is a different level. It's on a higher level. It's not just about, again, hair or, working out or whatever. This is about your true happiness and your inner soul, and figuring out what's going to mesh with you, and then allowing the universe to kind of guide you in that direction. If you're looking to reconcile, you're doing exactly what the Four says. You're retreating. You're going, and I said it to one other sign. Whenever I see this come up, it makes me feel like it's your turn to back off. Like maybe you've been contacting this person and they're not reciprocating, or if they do, it's kind of half-assed. And this is saying, retreat, wait. The minute you disappear, the minute there's no contact, they'll come out of the woodwork. Trust me. The minute you're not contacting them, they'll come out. So if you have been contacting them, take some time for yourself, rest, be at peace, and watch. They'll come out of the woodwork. If you haven't been in any contact, I feel like either you're not ready for it or they're not ready for it, because you need something else to happen, or you need to feel secure in something else before you guys move into this next step in your life. The next card you have is anything external throughout the month of December. It could be one day, it could be 10 days out of the month. Something that will happen in the Wheel of Fortune is very interesting, because I think this is exactly what I got for Scorpio. I think it's Scorpio. Don't quote me on that, but I think I got these two cards for Scorpio, and the Wheel of Fortune is quick. It's very interesting. I think Scorpio and maybe Capricorn got the Wheel of Fortune. And this is immediate changes that happen fast. They're unplanned. This is something the universe pushes you into, guides you into. So you were worried about things not moving. Guess what? At some point in December, they're going to be moving. The Wheel of Fortune tells me that all of a sudden, if you're not dating and you really want to date, that person kind of manifests into your life. Or, if you have been dating but it's not working, there's going to be a change, and all of a sudden you're going to meet a few people that actually seem like decent people that you could date. The Wheel of Fortune is about destiny too. So this is a very positive card, because it's usually kind of moving into an opposite direction of where you are. So if you're single now, that moves you into the possibility of finding somebody to commit to, or being in a relationship, or, moving as far as marriage, or moving in together, those types of things. The Wheel of Fortune is not staying still at your current position, right? It's moving into a different possibility. And it's seeing things in the future, possibilities. So all of a sudden you might start dating somebody and you see a future with them that you hadn't seen before. And that's really weird. I just got chills, because this is like somebody could be one of you, could be 10 of you. But somebody is either meeting, has met, or will be meeting in the next, because I'm doing this at the end of November, so it may happen in the beginning of December, or it may just have happened. But some of you have been on a date or two, or maybe you've been talking to somebody a lot and you're going on 1 or 2 dates, but you're kind of not all in. But then you start realizing that lately you've been thinking about well, I wonder, what kind of decorations they like in their house for Christmas. Just weird things. I don't know. And again, it may be 1 or 2 of you, and you may in the middle of December be like, oh, that's what Dark Dove was talking about. But somewhere along the line, you're going to be picturing yourself with this person, or asking your questions about things that would only pertain to something long term, or being in a relationship. And all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, well, if I didn't care about them or I didn't see myself actually being with this person, I wouldn't be interested in these thoughts. Or you're going to start thinking about something. It's weird. Stay with me here. But somebody's thinking about like lingerie, or like, you know, I wonder what color, or I don't know, like I wonder if he likes his perfume, or there's somebody going, I wonder if she likes this cologne. It's very interesting, which you're not paying attention to the fact that you probably wouldn't be wondering those things if you weren't interested in getting to know that person a lot better. If you're looking to reconcile, this is also changed. So if you're not in communication, you will be in communication. Even though you're going to be letting them do the majority of it, I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen. If you kind of quiet down and you just focus and you're dutiful and hardworking and you just kind of concentrate on other things, there's all of a sudden going to be a shift in energy and they're going to start contacting you. Now, if they've been in contact with you, then it may be a shift in your energy of believing that maybe the possibility of you guys reconciling is an actual positive possibility. The next card you have is anything internal throughout the month of December that you'll be feeling or thinking. And again, this is the external and this is the internal. So this can be influenced by other people. So can this, but this is generally something that your thought processes throughout the month of December. And the King of Wands is very good here because the King of Wands is saying, this is somebody who has like ethics and they're very, they're kind of leading the way and they're very attractive. So Gemini, throughout the month, I think you're going to be feeling more and more attractive, but you're also focusing on the ethical and moral aspects of yourself and what you want, and therefore you're going to be putting that out into the universe, which makes you more attractive to people that you actually want to attract. So that's definitely going to help. I also think that either you're going to meet somebody that you just kind of inspire, or somebody's going to inspire you. Either way, you're both going to end up inspiring each other to be a better person, but you're going to feel like you're going to feel like the way that you're going to feel throughout December, or that you're going to start feeling about yourself and things that you've changed and things that you've worked on, and just your, you know, overall outlook on life and dating and love and everything in general is kind of shifting, because I think some of you have been really negative, which is okay. We all go through that, right? But this now says that in December, you're going to feel different. And it's going to be reflecting and it's going to be magnetizing to people. They're going to feel, anytime I see the King come in a position like this, it's like people are going to like kind of gravitate towards you, and you might gravitate towards them, which allows for a more honest and open connection. So it's definitely a good place to be. If you're looking to reconcile, this is kind of you having the like boldness here. Either, you know, and I think one of the boldest things you could do is actually back off, because I feel like some of you have wanted answers or whatnot, and you've been the one kind of putting yourself out there and being the one who's been like kind of humbled by the experience. Like, well, I've had to put myself on the line, and, you know, I've had to say I'm sorry, and, you know, I know that I wasn't responsible for everything, but I'm being the bigger person here. And now you're just going to kind of change, and you're going to be like this higher self of, you know what, I may be out there putting myself out there saying sorry, and hey, I still want to talk and get to know you, and it's not reciprocating in the way that I want. So I'm moving on from this. And when you're ready to come back and have a conversation and communicate with me on a nice level to where it's 50-50 and not me doing 90 and you doing 10, then come on back. Because right now, I think that, you know, if it's not with this person, you're okay. And you deserve really good things, and you're not willing to grovel or to, you know, always be the one to say, hey, I'm sorry, when it's a two-way street and they weren't perfect in the relationship either. The next card you have is going to be your hopes and fears for the outcome of December. So how you're going to be feeling towards the end of December, or anything you're fearing, and your outcome, which is the 10 of Cups. So that's a perfect outcome. So let's address this 8 of Swords here. The 8 of Swords, if you're single, and I say this almost every time, and I've seen this in this position a couple times, ending a few, I think like 1 or 2 reads this month, in this same position, which is internal. You're imprisoning yourself in these thoughts of never getting what you want. And she could walk out the front door, but instead she's focusing on the what ifs, the things that could stab her in the end, the things that may not work out the way she wants. Things don't ever work out exactly how we want, right? but we have the ability to control what we can, and then if we can't control things, somebody recently commented, because I brought up the, what is that, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And somebody commented on my last post because I brought that up as well. And I said something about AA. I don't attend AA, but I know people who have, and I'm familiar with that saying just because I've heard it before. And he let me know that it was Bill W. Don't give me, if I'm wrong, I apologize, because I don't know that much about it, other than I've just always liked the saying. But I do know it's a 12-step program saying for people who have been through those. And this says, my point with that is, this is you trying to control things that you can't necessarily control, trying to move things quicker than they're going to move. You just have to kind of let the universe take the wheel and let it ride, because the only thing you're going to end up doing is you're going to be growing your self-doubt, like self-sabotaging any good that comes your way. To get this, you have to let go of this, and just focus on being the best you that you can be, and taking care of your spirituality, your higher self, getting to know yourself, and being self-aware of who you are. If you're looking to reconcile, this is also the same thing. If it is not going to work out, you are only self-imprisoning in this situation. If you are not happy with it, you have the choice to get out or to continue to stare at the swords. If this person is not communicating with you, if they're not going to change, if they're not willing to budge and admit that they aren't perfect in the relationship, regardless of what happened, relationships always take two, and nobody is perfect in them. But this is you, having all this self-doubt about it, or you're imprisoning yourself and feeling awful, or letting it become this emotional baggage that we talked about before that just disrupts your entire world, but you're keeping yourself there. And you know that. Anybody who's looking to reconcile is keeping themselves there. Let's face it. If you want to get back together with that person, you're either going to make the efforts, put in the work to get back together with them. And you may come back and say, guess what? I have been, and it's not happening. Well, then you have choices. Nobody's holding you to that fire. Nobody's holding you over these swords except for you. So you can make the decision to walk, or you can make the decision to torture yourself if that's what's happening. For a lot of you, it's not torture. But if that's how you're feeling with it, walk through the other door and out. This 10 of Cups for your outcome is beautiful. I'm going to start shuffling for your 2 clarifying cards. But the 10 of Cups is joy, peace, family. That's like the textbook definition of this card for most readers are going to come across that as well, which is, again, family, joy, peace, getting that traditional love, marriage, having kids, those types of situations. So if that's something you're looking for, your outcome looks really good. Now, do I think you're going to get forming a relationship is possible? Yes. Some of you, who knows, some of you might get married, but I see it being moving slow. That's why you're not happy about it moving so slow, but coming to this before it becomes this. However, the outcome is technically just dating somebody or meeting somebody that you could see yourself with this. So if you can see yourself here, then you've achieved that outcome at the end of December. It's definitely a beautiful place to be. And if you're single and that's what you're striving for, it doesn't have to be kids. It doesn't have to be marriage. It could just be a long-term partnership that you guys adopt a cat or a dog. But whatever it is to you, the possibility is there for the end of December. If you're looking to reconcile, I really feel like for a lot of you, like I said, you were heading in different directions. One of you thought we were on our way to the altar, and the other person thought we're not even close. Or one of you thought, hey, we're going to have kids, and the other one's like, I never discussed that I want to have kids. But somehow the ability to come together is here. There is a real possibility of you guys reconciling. It's just going to take a lot of communication, because I feel like that's what's lacking. You're just not talking about things, and you're going to have to give it time. It's not moving as fast as you want, and I unfortunately think it's going to take another month or two for you guys to really come to a place where you're communicating quite a bit. Let's see, your outcome card for, or you're clarifying for the outcome, and you're clarifying for the distant future. So your clarifying card for the outcome of the month is the 3 of Wands. Now, I love this anytime you know, you guys are looking for meeting possibly friend that grows into romance, or dating that grows into a relationship. This is planning and growth and partnership. The Three of Wands says, here, you've got this big possibility, which obviously the Ten of Cups does too. So there's this Three of Wands sitting here saying, you know, we can make this happen. I think you're going to meet somebody that you can grow into that with. I think that the possibility is very strong here. And Gemini, I think you're aware of it too. And you may already know this person. You guys might be friends. It might be somebody that you just were not ready to build anything on, and now you're realizing that you are ready. It may be that you know, have dated a few people and you just kind of kept it as a friendship level, or you never saw it that way, and now all of a sudden you're feeling that way. But because of the lack of like major chaotic dating, there's nothing in this read that says you're out there, you know, like burning in the midnight oil every night on these flashy new dates. This is you getting to know one or two people, already knowing one or two people, not realizing the potential, and now seeing the potential. Again, this wheel, and it's going to move fast, and which is interesting because, like I said, one or two other signs has the same thing where it's just moving quickly. And I said to them the exact same thing. My mom used to always say to me, look, when things need to move fast, or when things are meant to be, they will move fast. And like I explained to the other sign, my career is a perfect example for me with that, because I busted into my career 10 years ago, not knowing a thing about it, and have just grown into it, you know, wonderfully. And it happened so fast that afterwards I realized, wow, it was meant to be, because there was no time for me to second guess it or self-doubt. It just happened. And that's how you're going to feel this month, Gemini, when you meet this person. You're just not going to have the time to double check everything and dot your I's and cross your T's. It's going to be like an overwhelming feeling, or it just fits really well and there's no reason to second guess it. If you're looking to reconcile, this is, if you are communicating with this person, you're going to be able to grow and plan. I really feel, like I said, with this and with this and with this, that there was some sort of, something kept you off track. I don't know, maybe you guys just decided that you needed to take a break, but somewhere along the line you guys grew apart. The possibility of growing back together is huge right here. You just have to figure out where you grew apart and how you're going to get back together. Now, the Page of Coins being your distant future outcome is very good, because this is all about aspiration. If you're single, looking to date, looking to find somebody, there's going to be this feeling of hope. You've planted the seed. You're going to meet this person. Again, you may have already met them, but there is this ability for it to grow into some sort of partnership. I'm not seeing like this major marriage in the next couple of months, anything like that. I am seeing, however, a growth from a friendship, or growing from, you know, dating to a friendship that becomes a relationship. Very easygoing. This is not anything where I feel like you're not going to rush into it. Even though you might get excited about it and you feel that Eight of Cups and you're like, come on, we both like each other, what's going on? But they're not going to let you. And the universe isn't going to let you do it either. And I think inside you know you're better off that way, because you've rushed into things before. Some of you have had relationships that you've been in because you rushed it or forced it or moved into it. Some of you out of guilt because you didn't want to let the other person down, and some of you out of excitement, etc. Which I think we've all been there to a certain extent. But this month seems very calm and collective, like you're not going to rush into anything. But when you do plant that seed, it's going to grow into something amazing. And I really feel like just this friendship vibe, but a connection. They say some of the best relationships are built off of, you know, being best friends. And this is just you being very responsible and pragmatic about the decisions you're making about your love life. And if you're looking to reconcile, this is about being practical. This is about, can we move on? Can we move into the direction of whatever it was that you were lacking or that you were both needing? Are we finding a middle ground? Can we regrow this into something beautiful? And I think the possibility is very strong for you. But you have that choice. Again, it's like you can either choose to sit and allow it to affect you. And again, some of you haven't been sitting. You've been trying to communicate. You've been trying to, you know, get some answers, have conversations, and they're not. So for me, honestly, I would set up a timeline. All right, another month. If nothing comes of it after another month, I will no longer imprison myself in this self-doubt and worry. I will move on to something better, and I will start a new seed with somebody else. Okay, Gemini, have a great December. I'll see you before the new year. Bye.